buddy's house to test out these Aputure LED lights, especially the HR 672C light that I just did a review on. But we ended up adding a lot of other things that we're going to be doing for this little test of the LED light. So this will also be probably a separate video, as well as you guys probably, some of you are watching at the end of the actual review of the HR 672C LED light. So we're going to be using actually quite a few Aputure products. We're going to be using an Aputure shotgun mic. We're going to be using two Aputure LED lights, and we're going to be using an Aputure external monitor for this. So the idea here is I'm actually going to show you guys me setting up equipment. I've got two of my friends that have come out. One of them is Brian, who's actually shooting video for me right now, and my other buddy Doug, which you'll see here in a minute. They're going to be actors. They're going to be running lines, and the idea is to actually show them running lines with these LED lights set up like a professional shoot. They're not going to be very long conversations. We're going to be set up over here at this table. If you guys want to check that out, if you could step back a little bit there, Brian, we'll show them kind of how we're going to set this up. So mainly I'll have the two of them here on each side of the table. I'll be setting up equipment over here. We'll have the LED lights set up as well, and we're just going to be using two LED lights. And we'll have those set up with a tripod. We'll have a GoPro sitting behind everybody else, so you'll be able to we'll have some behind-the-scenes shots. So as we're working and shooting, all the audio will be captured by the GoPro with these Sony lav mics that I'm using right now. So we'll get some nice professional audio, and then we'll be using the shotgun mic, the Aputure shotgun mic, for the actual capture of the audio for the scene. But the idea is to show you guys the setup of the equipment, and then on top of that, to show you kind of behind the scenes as we're shooting, and then we're actually going to shoot it like it's a professional shoot. So the parts where they're actually going to be running dialogue, we'll actually be color correcting that and making that like it is a legitimate, real scene in a movie is the idea. So it won't look kind of like a lot of people where they kind of run tests or reviews and you're kind of getting behind the scenes and the actual test. We're actually the idea is to show you guys what it would look like if you were really shooting this as a real video and what the outcome would be as far as the quality, cinematic look, and all of that. So to start off with, I kind of need to go through and grab equipment and start throwing it out there. So this is going to be a really long video, guys. So I understand if you need to shoot through and skip through some of this, especially people that already know how to do all this type of stuff or are not that interested in seeing all the equipment being set up. Which I totally understand. You know, you can skip to the part where we're actually doing the shots and you can see the differences and actually see what these LED lights can do. But for the other people out there that are interested in actually watching, thanks for taking the time, and we'll start setting up. So we have both of our Aputure lights that we're going to be doing. One of them is the HR 672C, and the other one's the AL 528C. This is the wireless remote unit right here. And then this is the 528, the AL 528C unit. And the really nice thing is they're very portable lights. And these are the two lights that we're going to be using for all the filming this evening. We've got a tripod set up. Now the camera that we're shooting on at this very moment is the Canon 6D. And that's where we're going to be hooking everything up to. So we won't be able to show you guys 100% of everything that's being set up because a lot of the equipment, as far as the external monitor, the shotgun mic, all that stuff is going to be getting set up on the 6D. So when we get to a point, we'll stop recording and I will throw the 6D onto the tripod and set up the last little bit of equipment. So we're not going to do any fancy camera work. The idea is as Brian and Doug talk, we'll be bouncing back and forth between them on the tripod. So it's not going to be any real fancy multiple camera shots. We don't want to go too far, spend too much time over something small. Main thing is to just show you how it looks. As well, we want to show you kind of some of the different color temperatures for the different type of moods that you may be using when shooting videos. Because different color temperatures for different types of scenes, for different emotions need to be used. You know, certain emotions you don't want to use certain color temperatures with. So we're going to show you kind of the differences of that as well. So let's pull out some more equipment here. We got the LED lights, which we'll be pulling those out and setting them up on a stand. So we have the Aputure D2 V mic. This is the first time I've actually used this mic. So besides just like little quick tests to see how the audio is, which is actually pretty good compared to the Rode, which we'll be doing a review on this and putting it up against the Rode VideoMic Pro and seeing how well this operates. This is actually quite a bit cheaper than the Rode VideoMic Pro 2, I believe. So we need to get all the cords and hookups for it, which are going to be right here. And we're going to be using the GoPro. This will be used to get all the shots kind of behind the scenes. So we'll cut to that so you guys can see some of the behind the scenes, and we'll have some nice clean audio to go along with it. Let's see what else we're going to need. We're going to be using the lens and camera body that Brian's using at the moment. So I don't think we're going to need anything else out of this bag. We will probably need a backup battery for the GoPro. So we'll throw that there, and we'll set this to the side. Where is, see here, the monitor, I believe is over in this bag. So we'll be using the Aputure, the model, the VS3, the Aputure VS3 external monitor, which if you guys haven't seen the review of that, I have a review right here. We'll throw it up right here so you guys can check out that review if you're interested. I wasn't terribly happy with the monitor. I like it more than probably I came across as liking it in that video. After using it, I've had it for at least 6 months to, man, maybe over a year now. I might have had it more than like a year, and we use it quite a bit, a lot more than I expected to use it. So we're going to run that with a photography, and I think it's photography and cinema arm, and we'll run a clamp to it. Probably is how we're going to run the monitor. And we'll see how that ends up, how we're going to end up setting that up once we get there. So let's see what else. We're going to use this tripod, this little tiny tripod that Doug was nice enough, because I lost the clip to my tripod, and I don't have a base for it right now, my secondary tripod. So we're going to use this to throw the GoPro on, and then we have 2 cheap photography stands where we'll be setting the LED lights up on. So let's go on and set up these LED lights. Would be our next step here. Now, the cool thing about the HR672C LED light is, and we'll pull that one out first, is that one, it has a wireless remote, so we can control the light, how much light output it does, and the Kelvin temperature as well, which I think is a lot of fun and awesome. I guess not necessarily fun, it's just awesome that you can do that on the fly wirelessly. There's the actual panel itself. And it does come with 2 batteries. So I have not tested how long those batteries will actually last, but it seems like I get maybe an hour to 2 hours worth of use out of the batteries between an hour and 2 hours. I'd say probably an hour, hour and a half before they really start dying out. But they do throw in, you can charge the batteries right on the back of the panel, as long as you plugged into the wall. And then you have control of your Kelvin and how much power you want to actually put out. And then the really cool thing is they throw a stand in there, so depending on how you want to set up your panel, LED panel, we could do a light like that. But I'm just going to set it up like this, and they've got different holes for you to screw into, depending on where you want to. So 3 sides of these have holes. And sorry, this is probably not super in focus thanks to the way I'm moving it. Poor Brian over there, trying to help out and get the best shot possible. So there, and then we're just going to pop this onto a stand. And since we're in a house and we have power, I'll have the battery sitting on the back, but what I'll actually be doing is I'll be running right into a wall outlet, as it is the easiest way to really do this, unless you need to get further away from a wall. But this is going to be great if you need to go on location or whatever, and we could just go on and flip the on switch, and I don't know if the batteries are alive or not. I guess the batteries are dead from the last time we used them. Let's see here. Yep, they're dead. So we're going to have to run into the wall anyways for this unit. So we will set that up to the wall here in a second and throw this bag to the side. Now we got the AL528C is the next light that we're going to be setting up, the next LED light. It's not as bright as the HR672, but still does the job. And they do have filters, so if you need to get a little bit of extra light, or not filters, I used to call them diffusers, you can pop those off if you need to. Now, this unit is not made to be used with a remote, which kind of sucks, but it's a cheaper unit. It's about $100 cheaper, and it doesn't come with batteries or anything. So it still gets the job done, and just got to plug it right into the wall. The other cool thing that I've noticed, Aputure uses the same type of battery for all their units. So I ordered this off Amazon, and it's just a battery that we use for the monitor. And this actually will work with the LED lights as well. So if you use a lot of Aputure products, as I do, since they send a lot of stuff out to me and I like their products, so therefore I use their products on top of them giving it to me to test out and review, which thanks Aputure, is they all seem to use the same battery, so that if you have a bunch of their products, it's kind of nice to be able to use the batteries for all the different products. Say you're not using the monitor, but you are using the LED lights one night, and you have batteries for the monitor. Well, you can throw them on the LED lights, which is kind of cool. So we'll plug the LED lights into the wall. I guess we can go on and set up the GoPro, which we'll set up here. It's a pretty simple little setup. We just need to find an angle for the GoPro. And actually, I need to grab one more thing out of my backpack. And what we'll do is we'll be putting the Sony mic, the wireless lav system, on the bottom of this. So we'll be putting the GoPro on this and then put the mic system. And then we can run the GoPro audio right into the GoPro, which the GoPro's audio it really does a good job of capturing the audio using these wireless lavs. Really happy with it. So this is kind of my run and gun, I don't know, like video blog style right here. Which I throw the audio right into the GoPro, and I can just hold this and I can talk to myself, I can vlog or whatever, and we just throw the Sony mics, run them right into the GoPro from here. So we'll set this up in the back, and let's see if we can't get full extension here. Right. Nothing like a cheap tripod, but guess what? On a GoPro, they work great because GoPros don't weigh hardly anything, which is fantastic. So make sure that I got the legs fully extended. All right. And let's see if we can't. See if we can, this has a, yes. And we want to get as much height as possible. I have a suction cup, but unfortunately there's no glass in here to actually suction it to something and just throw it up in a corner, which is a great thing to have if you guys own a GoPro, is to get yourself a suction cup. And we'll flip this around. So, but I think this should be enough height. And what I can do is turn the GoPro wireless on. And that is the cat. That's a future actor. She's been trying to get a part in one of our scripts for a while, but we can't find the perfect part for this cat named Chloe. Where is Chloe at? Oh no, it's not Chloe. Is that Chloe? That's who? Dottie. Okay, it's Dottie. Chloe and Dottie have been wanting to get a part in one of our scripts for a long time, but we just haven't found the right part for them yet. So we've got it connected to the GoPro, and then I just connect it right into the iPhone, and I can use that as a wireless monitor for the GoPro, which is fantastic, so I can see. But it's not connecting right off the bat. Sometimes, I guess you should have your Wi-Fi turned on so the Wi-Fi can connect. That helps. And as soon as it does that, we're connected in, pop into the connect to control the GoPro. And here we go. So as you guys can see, we can run that. So I can use this as a little wireless monitor to see where I want to set up the GoPro. So I'm going to get the best shot possible. And then I can set all my settings up. I'm going to shoot this probably at 4K at 24 frames per second. So it will be a little bit higher quality. So I could go right into the settings, and I got it set for 30. I'm going to set it at 24 seconds. And so Now I just got to figure out where I want to position the GoPro to get the best shot possible. And actually, this corner is probably going to be just about perfect. And it will get just about the whole scene. And once we get the lights on, the lighting on this is not going to be fantastic, but it's just going to have to work for what we're using. Because we don't have another cameraman to really set up a secondary DSLR and get the shot that I would want to get. But this will work. This is going to show what I need it to show. And see, we got the tripod, we got the lights. We still got to hook up the monitor and the shotgun mic, and we got to hook up these. So now what we'll do is I'm going to switch over to the GoPro, and we're going to set up the 6D. And then we're going to put these actors to work. What do you guys say? We switched over to the GoPro. Sorry, the quality of the GoPro isn't, of course, in manner of speaking, as nice as the 6D, but we got to set up the 6D now. Yeah, it's shooting 4K, which is nice, but it just doesn't handle the lighting the way that the 6D handles the lighting. So,
you interested in a cup of coffee?
Coffee would be fantastic. I'll never turn coffee down. So. It's always awesome when your host not only lets you come over and shoot a review of a product in his house and acts for you and then offers you coffee. That's pretty awesome. What more could a guy doing a review ask for? So we got to set up the tripod, the two lights. You want to hook up run these lights. We can set, if we've got plugs, we can set one on each side because we're probably going to. Do you? Okay. So the idea is we need to get the lights set up. Once we get the lights set up or turned on, I get the lights turned on. Then we'll have the actors sit down, and we'll kind of get ready for setting up the shot. And then I'll readjust the lights depending on the type of scene we're doing and depending on where I want my lighting set up. You want to make sure you test your audio always. I recently shot a review. It took me about 2 or 3 hours, and there was no audio. So I had to go back and reshoot the review like 2 days later when it could have been done 2 days earlier. So make sure your audio is hooked up and set up as needed. So that's what I'm going to do right now is make sure my audio is where I need it and make sure it's all. So woohoo! And I'm getting no audio, so now I got to figure out why. Oh, you got to push the little audio piece all the way into the unit. Now we got some audio. All right. And the really cool thing about the D2V mic from Aputure is that I actually have, one, it sends a signal, a zero-tone signal to your mic so you can set up where you want the manual levels at. As well, you have a control 1 through 10 to figure out how loud you need your audio. So we'll do a test once we get the actors set up on the table over here and they start running some lines, and I'll figure out where their levels are going to be at, and then I'll have an idea of exactly where my audio needs to be so that I can get the best possible audio for the shot. So we'll go on and throw that on the tripod. And Brian's getting the lights powered up, so then we can then figure out where we need to set them so we get the shadows and everything that we want. And again, if I was doing this outside of just using the LED lights, I have some other lights, we would be setting up a little bit differently if we were actually shooting on a little more, if this is a little more professional level where it's not necessarily a review. Again, we're trying to still get a pretty nice looking shot and everything, but we're trying to limit ourselves to just the LED lights, where I have another 2 or 3 other lights that we'd be hooking up to get much closer to perfect video or perfect lighting and how we want to set it up. So I'm using a little clamp here, and this will just clamp onto my tripod. And then what we'll do is we will hook the monitor right into the clamp, and I can set my monitor up how I want, since I've only got one hot shoe on my DSLR. So I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but you can hear me talk about it, and I'll show it to you here in a second. All right, got that set up. So now what I'll do is I'll tighten the arm, and I'm going to need to set this up a little bit. I need a little bit more angle here for the monitor. And now we'll throw the battery on the monitor, and we'll throw the HDMI cable. So we get HDMI out right into the monitor, so I can see exactly what I want to see right through this nice 1080p monitor. And of course, we got the wireless remote, extra GoPro battery, which I'll throw in my pocket because we'll probably need to change out the GoPro battery. Brian's got one of the lights set up. And again, the really cool thing about this is a wireless light. Okay, yeah, wireless light and remote, and you can control with that. I wish both of them were like that, but you got to take what you can get. So now we've got this set up, and I'm probably going to need to raise the tripod a tad bit more. And I'll kind of show you guys the setup here. So we've got shotgun mic, the V2 mic. We've got the Aputure monitor here. And we've got to set that set up. And nice thing, everything's all tightened down as need be. And so now we are good to set actors up, set lighting up, and figure out where we need to set our audio and where our lighting needs to be. And apparently this is still not tight enough, so we need to tighten this up just a tad bit more. That does happen. These little photography and cinema arms, though, are pretty nice. Now it should be pretty sturdy. Okay. So I'll be back in a minute. I got to move all this stuff around and kind of figure out. It's kind of hard to talk and really focus on what my next step is. So I'm going to focus on this, and then I'll be back in a minute with the actors set up, and we'll do the audio check and make sure lighting's where we want it, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Got everything set up. As you guys can see, we've got lights, both the LEDs at full power. We're going with a 55K Kelvin temperature, which is going to be a cooler temperature, and I'm going to explain that here in a minute why. So I've got one light kind of shooting up at an angle straight at Doug, one of our actors here, and the guy that owns this place, nice enough to let me come do this. And then we've got Brian, who you guys have seen quite a few times, sitting over here. And again, we've got the light shooting right directly at him at an angle. And it's killing most of the shadows, and they're going to be a little bit, the background will be a little bit out of focus, so the main focus will be, of course, the two subjects here when they talk. So we have the monitor set up, we've got the mic. So right now, the last thing I need to do before I get set up, and I talk a little bit about why we're doing it this way, is we need to get our audio set up. So what I'm going to have the actors do here is run some lines, a few lines, and we're going to get the audio exactly where it needs to be. So I'm going to go on and go into my audio panel here on the 6D, and we're going to have them go on and run lines and figure out where my audio needs to sit at so that we're getting good, nice, clean audio. So Brian and Doug, if you guys just run a few lines for me here, and like you would when we're actually going to be shooting here in a minute.
Ready for that little game? I am ready for it. A lot of people are nervous and excited. Louisville's had their schedule is the same as ours, or their winning record right now. Indeed. What are they? Let's see. Are they 10-0?
I think so.
So they're 10-0 right now. We're 10-0. We're 11-0, something like that now. Just coming off our most recent awesome victory against the Tar Heels yesterday.
Indeed.
Yes, and without our really our star player, kind of our star player.
I know, dude, it sucks to get to go down there.
All right, so I think I've got the audio where I want according to my audio meters. So one trick that I do, that I like to do with audio, if you don't have, so I could use the monitor. It does have a jack that I could put into it, but unfortunately, it doesn't really give you clear sounding audio. So a couple different things I can do. One, I can literally just go to the back panel and run the audio right out of the 6D and listen to how it sounded and if it got to where I needed it to be. Or two, if I've got the time, I will literally just pop the SD card out of the camera and throw it into my laptop and throw some headphones on and listen to it and make sure it's where I want it at. But since we're not putting a lot of time into a big time shoot here, we just kind of want to get something nice, very pretty looking, and to kind of show you guys where I'm going with these LED lights that I've got set up. I'm just going to run through it on the back of the 6D and make sure that we've got it sounding to where it needs to be. So let's jump over to, oh, well, I guess I need to record a little bit of audio first. So I was just using the monitor. So I'm going to have you guys just talk again for a couple more seconds. I'm going to capture audio and then listen to it back. So I'm recording, so action.
What time is that Louisville game?
Louisville game is at 2 p.m. Date is the 27th. You think you guys said, right?
I believe so.
And that is away at the Yum Center. So I think it's the Yum Center, right? Is that the name of it? Yep.
And cut. So now I'm going to go back and listen to this via the 6D, make sure for the most part it's loud enough. The biggest thing, because I know that the mic shoots pretty well and I know I'll be able to fix any static or that hiss that you get from audio sometimes. I'll be able to fix that in post on Premiere, Adobe Premiere. So the main thing for me is to make sure that it's loud enough. And we got a little bit of an echo, so I'll have to fix that in post as well, because we're using a shotgun mic right now, and normally we use wireless lavs or a lav system for a shoot like this with a room like this. But I wanted to test the mic out, and I'm using the wireless lav on the GoPro. All right, so I think the audio is pretty good. You guys can speak up a tad bit if you want. Your levels are good, so but you can bring it up a tad bit more.
Increase volume?
Yeah, just a tad bit. So I've got the light set up, the monitor and the shotgun mic how I want it. I've got Doug right here and Brian right here who are going to run some lines about UK basketball. If you guys haven't already figured out, I live in Kentucky and we live and breathe, and some of us even bleed blue here in Kentucky, in Lexington, Kentucky. We take our basketball very serious. So they're going to have a dialogue talking about the team. We're going to talk a little bit maybe about some horrible Louisville basketball. No one likes Louisville here. Not at all. Not even a tad bit. Sorry for any Louisville fans out there, but you are going to get beat the 27th of this month. I'm sorry. Anyways, so they're going to have a little dialogue about the team and the butt whooping we gave the Tar Heels recently. And just to talk a little bit about, we're doing a 55K temperature lights. I've got the lights set up, and I'll do a behind-the-scenes shot right now. And we've got lights shooting directly across. The lights are actually crossing each other, and they're a little bit taller than the actors, and they're shooting down, which is killing most of the shadow that I would need. Now, if I had a few more lights, we might add a little backlighting and a few other angles that we'd add some lights to get the light a little more even. But this will work for now. So again, the idea here is we're kind of fun, having a good time. They're talking about UK basketball. And so we're using a cooler tone for this type of shot. Now, later on, we're going to do a much darker scene with these two. And we're actually going to use like a warmer tone because that's going to bring out, it's going to make the shadows harsher. Therefore, making the scene feel like bring you into it more with the emotion depending on the color temperature. So again, for this type of emotion, we're going for much lighter, much happier, not very serious feel. Therefore, we don't need as dark shadows, and we want the light to be a little bit more cooler or whiter, however you guys want to look at it. The proper term would be cool, but people may know it as just a more LED, more a whiter light. So let's jump on. I'm gonna jump behind the camera, double check my focus, check a few settings, and then we're gonna yell action, and we're gonna jump right into an actual scene with these two about UK basketball. Then we'll explain a little bit about the other Kelvin temperature, the warmer Kelvin temperature we're going to use for the next scene that we're going to do to bring out that emotion. So, we'll be back in a minute.
Hey, man. Ready for that Louisville game?
The Louisville game.
That's right.
I'm very excited for this year's game.
Yeah. Where are you watching that?
Probably here.
All right.
Unless an invitation comes in, hint, hint, to go to one of the local watering holes.
All right. All right. Beer and basketball.
Where do you go?
I usually go to that the Irish pub there on Richmond.
Yes, the Irish pub.
Yes.
Are you Irish?
No, I'm not Irish.
You're English.
Yeah. Or the Neil's is always a place I go to.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Yes, fine restaurant, fine place, nice bar, nice atmosphere, ambiance. Yes.
Calipari actually stopped in one night and
to O'Neill's.
yeah, he walked in and he said, "O round for everybody."
O-Round.
Yeah.
It's their like signature burger. Oh, the O-Round.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, I know the O-Round.
But dude, it was a packed bar, man. I mean, it was like 200-300 people.
And you were there?
Yeah, I was there, dude. So
Right on.
free hamburger.
It's not often you get to actually have a encounter with, kind of local royalty, if you will.
True.
We are now going to be doing our second scene here, and again we're using the Aputure LED lights, and right now we've got the Kelvin temperature at 55K. We're going to be bringing it down to, I believe, 32K, which is going to give a much warmer tone for this shot. Right now, this does not look like a very dramatic shot, and this is the way the actors are going to be acting. They're using a script that they did about a year ago, which is a very kind of serious, dramatic look. And so that's kind of what we want to go for. We want to bring that emotion out of people when they're watching this scene. So we need to change our Kelvin temperature. And the really nice thing, again, with these Aputure lights, because kind of the review of these two Aputure lights, is that I can control it right on the back of the panel. For the 672C, I can do it right here with my wireless remote, which is fantastic. So I can go on and change that temperature. As you guys notice, the temperature is probably changing a tad bit right now. And then I'll walk over and change it on the other light. And I will have Doug right here light his clove cigarette as I change the temperature over here. And it's going to have a much more dramatic feel than if he lit it right this second or right before I changed the temperature just a second ago. So again, this is going to be a more serious, dramatic shot. And that's the emotion I want to pull out of you using these LED lights, this Kelvin temperature. And that's kind of what I'm going for. So here's a little technique on lighting. So I guess let's get started. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk around and change this light. Doug, if you want to go on and light up that clove cigarette for me. And you're going to notice that this feels like it has a much more dramatic feel to it than it did a minute ago. And make sure we've got the temperature where I want it. Oops. Yep. I don't know why I was messing with that panel. Shouldn't have. Anyways, and so now what they're going to be doing is they're going to be doing a very serious scene, using some of the script that they recently did about a year ago, and we've got bourbon out, and we did have Doug over here with a Angry Orchard, which just. Even if the lighting was right, how can you take a scene serious when the guy's drinking an Angry Orchard? For any of you that don't know what Angry Orchard is, it's a cider beer, right?
A hard ale.
A hard ale. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to make sure all my adjustments are where I want in the camera, and we're going to shoot this scene.
I think I messed up, man.
You think?
Yeah.
You don't know?
Okay. I messed up. I know. Got in the way.
You didn't plan for that?
What do you want me to do? Some little action plan?
Admit where you're wrong and acknowledge your mistakes.
What is worse?
Because she'll never forgive you.
You don't do that.
Forgiveness is the hardest thing to do.
Maybe I don't deserve it.
What makes you think you do?
Maybe I don't care.
No, that's an honest answer.
He wasn't the right guy.
Then why did you kill him?
Because he's a piece of shit. He didn't love Jenny.
You don't know that.
Come on, man. He did not love her. Or if he did, he was a really good actor. And he had a lot of people convinced.
So that kind of concludes our review of the two Aputure lights, specifically the HR672C, which was shooting Brian the whole time.